gonna step in there.
Or stepping what in
In the
the
bathroom
bathroom?
with my phone.
Okay, it's no problem. As long as we're in proximity of each other. But yeah, this is another episode of the Mental Threats podcast. I'm here with a longtime friend. Like, really, we go back to community college. This is my friend Stephen Naas. You want to say something?
What up, yo? How's it going? Good to be here. Good to see my boy T. It's been quite some time since we've seen each other, but it's good to have him over and catch up on some life, man. He's got some pretty interesting topics he wants to talk about, so let's get into it.
Yeah, most definitely, man. And I've learned a whole lot of things about Nas in the back. I refer to him as Nas and everything. I don't go over his first name a whole lot. But anyway, Nas, not to be confused with the rapper. In the 90s or the Lil Nas X, but Nas, I knew from CPCC and everything. That was back. What was that, like, what, 2016?
2016, yeah, man. 2016 was a brief time. I was there at the same campus that you were at for about like a semester, and then I disappeared.
No,
Yeah.
same, dude. Like, I was there I was there for like 2 semesters, and then it just shit was fucked up because it was like uptown Charlotte, and you know how people can be uptown
Oh
Charlotte.
man, yeah, it was interesting, man. Just I don't know, bro. Like it was kind of funny because just like the group of people that we hung out with were, I don't know, they weren't good for us, bro. It's just interesting to look back at that time of our lives and kind of see where we are now. You
Yeah,
know.
man. It's just like a lot of them. I feel like they might have been mentally ill, low key. Like, I feel like we're all got depression and anxiety, but something about a lot of these people are just I don't even know, man. And it sucks if you're kind of like an empathetic person, like naturally, but it's just like, and then you get caught up with a bunch of like bullshit ass people. But I mean, it's a teaching experience. Like, some people don't go through a whole lot of stuff, and then they just kind of be shitty people throughout their whole lives. And then it's
Yeah.
just like, for us, and so we probably went through some things. I mean, you pretty lived a pretty okay life. I mean, I saw your house like growing up around that time. Yeah, you were living in a mansion, weren't you?
Nah, not like a mansion, but I was living in a pretty nice house, man. But it was pretty interesting with that situation because, you know, we went from saving fucking box tops, and stacking every little fucking chip, every little penny, dollar, nickel we had to get where we were, man. And the growth with my family and where I'm from, it was really interesting to watch because I remember the days where we struggled a lot, and then I also remember the days where we got out of the struggle. So the transition was it was really graceful, man. But you know, watching that probably it probably it changed the way that I approach things when it came to life. And when I mean things, I'm talking about finances. You know, you and I went to college together, man. And
Community college.
yeah, you graduated, right? You got your degree.
Yeah, man, I just got my degree. I graduated cum laude, pretty close to magna cum laude, but I was fucking up with these 2 classes. Most of my classes, I got A's and B's. Like, I never got less than an A or B until like my last semester with these 2 other classes.
Right,
I was
right.
messing up one.
See, I didn't finish my schooling, man. Like, I was really in deep into my schooling. I was in a welding program, like my last semester and we got shut down, dude. And by the time I went back, I was just so far behind and so out of practice that it just like I was pretty much failing all of my classes.
It
So
just became less practical, basically, at that point.
yeah, my teachers were telling me to drop out, man. They're like, "Yo, you need to get out of here before like you fail out of college," type shit. So
Well, at least they were being honest with you, and they weren't like being a dick to you, like belittling you in front of your classmates and shit like that.
facts, man, facts. But you know, back to the point what I was saying. Like, I didn't finish college, man, and I'm still like I'm still finding my way, but slowly but surely, I'm still making a way, and tying back to my family, watching them progress financially and become more financially literate, it showed me that in America, you don't need to go to college to be successful. Like,
You really don't. Like I see like you, for instance, like the main reason why I even went to that college, like because like one of my friends was going there, so I didn't want to be like, like, oh, just by myself and I don't know anybody there. Like I'm pretty much an extrovert, but at the same time I want to be able to know like how like the patterns that everybody kind of moves and everything.
dude, shit, I never even wanted to go to college, man. Like, it was more of like my parents are like, you're gonna go to school, we're gonna kick you out, and like you're gonna figure things out on your own. So I was like, man, fuck that, I'm gonna go to school, and it didn't work out for me, dude. And eventually, when push came to shove, I got kicked out. Blah blah blah. I had to figure things out on my own, and you know what? I'm glad I did, dude, because not finishing college, it made me realize one that you don't need a degree to be successful in this society. And I don't consider myself like a fucking millionaire success, fucking slumdog millionaire type shit.
Hey,
But
you're successful to me, bro. You got a whole
yeah,
apartment. That's my next stage right
I
now,
mean,
bro. And and it's just like, although like, some shit might be fucked up, but it's like, it's still pretty all right. Like, I like your surroundings and
I
everything, because it's
appreciate
you.
that. I appreciate that, man. And pretty much what I learned was it's not about how much money you have; it's about what you do with the money that you have, man. Like,
No, dead ass.
financial literacy is how you get by in this day and age. And what I'm trying to instill in my son is teaching him how to be financially literate, man. And that's what I watched happen in my family that brought us into that nice house that you came to that one time, that brought
Yeah.
us up out of the shambles that we were in, man.
Yeah,
We
man,
come from
those
humble
some pretty,
beginnings.
those are some pretty good, like, like lighthearted times, like even when I was going through a pretty much dark process around that area, it was just
Life
like,
was life was simpler during those times, man.
yeah, man, because I was transitioning from high school and everything. I didn't really know my left from my right or like where to go.
We're
It
still
was
kids.
and it was like the beginning phase of a condition that I was dealing with. That like now I'm actually found a clinic that's willing to actually work with me now.
Oh
So I'm
yeah,
pretty
man.
happy that I might get past it. The only thing is like I was supposed to relocate to DC area to get close and everything. But hey, they just say like, hey, once you pay this down payment, we'll work with you and whatever you get here, you can get there.
So you're
Yeah.
so you're moving to DC?
Pretty soon, man, because it's like I just like because I want to go to Howard University to get my master's degree, and then sometime later like get my doctorates and everything. It's just something in me just tells me I gotta go there.
What are you doing, man? For like, what do you want to get your doctorates in? It's pretty cool.
No, just the same business administration stuff. It's just gonna be the same focus of marketing, maybe real estate, things of that nature. Because it's just like I feel like that would be the best way to kind of help my people. I'm West African, like Liberian, so it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah, of
like that's kind
course.
of where I want to dedicate too, because a lot of our people back home, it's a third world country. I know you're like Honduran and everything, yeah.
Yes,
So it's just
sir.
like so it's like it's just like it's a lot of shit you had to clean up, and a lot of mentality you got to change up and everything. It's
Yes,
just
bro.
like
Mentality.
I always write it down in my manifestation script and everything. How I want to help. I want to bring like solar energy. I'm thinking about like maybe trying to see if I could be able to bring back architecture because we have a lot of older buildings, so they're kind of like collapsing on each other. It's
Yeah.
like we had to survive 2 civil wars over nothing. So it's just like, it's just, I feel like America has a whole lot of like responsibility to also trying to like, really fix our country again. Because once again, you were sending whole American slaves back to Africa and you didn't even bother to like really help them out as much as they needed and everything,
Right.
and it's just like it's just a lot, they brought out that whole mentality. A lot of the African slaves brought out the whole mentality of who lighter skin and like we're more educated and you're indigenous people, like, you're nothing type stuff. And it's just, we're all the same people, it's just those are
Yeah,
just
dude.
barriers. But it's just like America really designed that mentality that led to like civil wars.
It's crazy, man. Like, just speaking on that, like my mom is Filipino, my dad's white. I'm adopted. I'm Hispanic.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, racism. Like, we don't know it, bro. Like, we don't know racism in my family, man. It's like how we judge a person goes way, way, way deeper than their skin color, man. Like, it's like you said, mentality, morals, mindset, everything. So,
Yeah, I know. I know you're like adopted. I didn't know. I was trying to see if I can. I'm not trying to see if I was trying to bring it up. I wanted to wait till you were comfortable enough to speak on it and everything. Cause I know like you're cool with it and everything, but I didn't know if you want to speak on it or not. You know?
I appreciate that, dude. I'm gonna turn the fan off so
Yeah, sure. Do whatever you can.
it doesn't muddy your audios, dude.
Oh,
So,
yeah, surely. I'm basically going to be second-guessing this.
So I read something today, dude, that I think you might find interesting. It was a CIA classified document, and it was on hypnosis.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was from the 80s, but there's something called hemisync, that what the CIA calls it.
I heard about that. Doesn't that have anything to do with communism or something like that? Like something they got from the Russians?
Yep. So the communists, like during, the height of their power, they were finding ways of subversion and mind control. And really, that's kind of like what hemisync is. Hemisync is like the use of electrical frequencies and like through music, through sounds to change and influence the way that people think.
So like how back then probably 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s like people were more singing about love and stuff of that nature. And so people back then were probably populating more, connecting more. I won't say connecting more because there was still like Jim Crow and stuff like that nature, but it was like I feel like we were transitioning to a period where we were just kind of like that was like the main thing. And then they started putting out gangster rap and everything.
Yeah, like
and people started killing each other.
Like people were starting to come together, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the crack epidemic, the AIDS epidemic. Like it's just so
dude,
conveniently.
I wholly believe the CIA was completely behind the fucking crack epidemic, dude.
No, most definitely.
Oh my
It's
God.
obvious. Like it's almost bright as day now. Because dude, everybody they locked up was somebody of obviously African American background, but also just like people of like
Poor
poor
background.
people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Poor.
just to get free labor and like the whole just
Yeah, I mean that's what the prison system is, man, and like the justice
human rights
department.
violations and everything.
Yeah, it's enslavement. It's just got a fancier title on it. I mean, you look at, all right, you go to like really, really rural areas, really like a lot of poorer regions, and a lot like Virginia, West Virginia, like the rural areas of North Carolina. The only career that is available to the people there is the prison system, and a lot of the time, like, dude, the prison like DOC like guards, they're just as bad as the inmates. They're just as bad as the criminals in there. Like, dude, you need to check out this dude on YouTube. His name's 1090 Jake. Like, this man talks about some real ass shit. He's an ex-con.
Yeah, definitely send me like the link on YouTube on Instagram for sure.
He was saying, man, like, especially in the East Coast, where we are, and that's where he was locked up, in those really just rural areas that are in the middle of nowhere, prison guards will kill you and bury you on the prison like land, pin it on another inmate, and then build a building over like a mass grave, and nobody knows about it. And then what they do is they take you and they put you in permanent transit, so like they can't ever pull like your paperwork and figure out where you are. It's crazy as fuck,
That's
man.
That's cool as shit, bro.
Yeah.
And the thing is, places like the Netherlands, their prison system is more like rehabilitated.
Yeah, dude. Well, yeah, I mean, I of course, bro, and like
Crazy
also,
how we're just agreeing and we're just aware about the stuff we're talking about. Like,
Also-
we're gonna actually bounce off each other.
hell yeah, but also, dude, I believe it's in those areas, like in those countries, that the police officers have to go through like several years of schooling, where they have to learn psychology. They have to learn how to be social with people who are fucked up in the head. Like they need to learn how to negotiate and de-escalate situations. And a lot of the time, they don't even have fucking weapons, man. And do you like? Yeah, and how many police involved killings are there? Like
I
in
just
countries
saw
like
one
that.
like earlier today with one dude like 26 year, and it's crazy how like we live in an era now it's just another day. Like you see it on the internet, like seeing people die, that's like traumatic. Now it's just like, oh, that's life now.
Everybody's like, fuck cops, defund the police, man. Okay,
I had a police officer on this podcast too.
People are angry. It makes sense, right? It makes sense to say that, but okay, like let's look at it, down to like an area where we live. Yeah. Okay. What are you gonna do when some shit happens? Like, I'm ready to prepare. I'm prepared to defend my family and the people I care about. But let's say, like, all right, this is when it gets weird. All right, here's where I put on my tinfoil hat, or take off the tinfoil hat. Okay, so here's why I think that, like a state, state authority is more important over federal authority, because federal authority is more of like unified authority. All right, it's laws that are implied to everybody. So you've heard of the World Economic Forum, right?
No. If you would explain this to me.
Okay, so the World Economic Forum is pretty much a group of like multi-billionaires that have come together.
Oh, like that 1%. Okay.
Yeah, and they have decided through after COVID that, hey, look, like the economy of the world is fucked. All right, and we need to go to a digital currency. And one of the dudes on this forum, his name is Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab said, "You will own nothing and you will be happy." And this is not being put on the news at all. This is not on Twitter. This is not on Instagram. This is not on Facebook.
So this is like basically communism in a sense, or is it just like a different type of communism with extra
My
steps?
guy, this is the new world order. This is global unification. Like, and this is where it ties back to cops, dude. That money being put into, like, overpowered military police officers, dude, that needs to be put into education. That needs to be put into, like, taking young minds who want to do good with their lives and good for other people, and, train them like they do in the Netherlands. Train them so they don't have to be armed in every fucking situation, man. Like, law enforcement isn't a fucking job that should just, that I feel like should take minimal requirements. Like, yes, law enforcement training in the U.S. is intense. I personally know several cops, but it's not intense enough, dude. It's not selective enough. Like, not everybody should be able to make the cut to be able to carry a gun.
Especially if they got PTSD or like any kind of mental disorders, maybe narcissistic personality disorders.
Exactly, dude. Like, instead of defunding the police, why don't you reroute the funds to therapy?
Yes.
To, like, it's like
checking the background, psychological background, really going deep onto it, like
psychology courses. Put
like
the
going
money
as far as like first kindergarten if it said check their permanent records.
Exactly, stuff like that, dude. Like, there's ways that we can make our police force a lot more fit for like what the job is for, which is like taking out like rapists and fucking murderers and shit, dude.
Yeah, and it's like more, and most guys, so not just saying most, because I had a police officer on the podcast too. Dude was mad chill. We even spoke about Krav Maga and like stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
I might consider going to Krav Maga once I move to DC and everything. I want to be able to get my health and stuff in order first before I do anything of that nature and stuff. But it's just like, dude, they're just regular people like me and you. Like, they're not better than, but when you give people certain powers to do whatever,
there's those bad apples, man. That spoil the whole bunch, man. Like, dude, it's fucking crazy, man. Like, but at one point in my life, dude, I had the mentality of like, all cops are bad. Fuck cops. We don't need them. Blah blah blah. Like, I ain't gonna call the cops because I'll stand dying and protecting my family. But it's like, dude, when we talked about the World Economic Forum and the Great Reset, that's kind of what made me realize, oh man, okay, when things go to the grand unification, when the Great Reset is over, there potentially may not be constitutional rights. There may not be laws of this land that give us freedoms, like, freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, the things that are slowly being taken away from us. And I have a feeling that after this great fucking economic reset, there's not going to be a constitution. There's not going to be a Mecklenburg Police Department or an Iredell Police Department or whatever police department you live in. It's going to be the fucking FEMA taking care of us. It's going to be FEMA handling everything, or the UN handling everything, and there's not going to be any rights, and then we're fucked.
Yeah, it's going to be scarier for real, because it's just like, I don't know. There's so many things happen, especially these past couple years, man, with the COVID situation, police brutality been put into the forefront to have you demonize the police. So maybe we want people to like reroute, but they don't really find like the best way to do so. They try to find the more capitalistic way. I feel like people forget, like, bro, this is a capitalistic society. I know people want to be like, oh, maybe communism might be better, or maybe this might be better. But really, I mean, to find the best way to govern and everything, it's really just it's not just like a one-way type street. There's like so many things you got to consider. Like for voting rights, you you got to really consider like the IQ aspect, because some people are just not intelligent enough to make that decision. Like for the whole like getting Joe Biden into the office and everything, like the first thing they saw was like, oh yeah, that's Barack Obama's man, like right, and that's all they see. Get Donald Trump out, get Donald Trump out, and it's like, but they didn't even consider like Howie Hawkins was also considered on legalizing marijuana.
People don't consider the policies that the candidates come with when they vote for their candidates, and it's fucking crazy to me.
Because we all go in like raves. No one even really sits down. And like the way how so many things go viral, I was surprised that Howie Hawkins didn't go viral. This one time, these two candidates, although Joe Biden, okay, yeah, Joe Biden was like kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, especially with the Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton type thing.
The reason why I believe, sorry to cut you off.
That's all right, you're nothing.
The reason why I think he did not go viral is because he could potentially bring people together.
Of course.
And all of these
if
other...
Snoop Dogg just supported him for like the whole weed situation, the Wiz Khalifa, bro, that'd be it.
Yeah.
that would be so it, because nobody would care, bro.
Dude.
No one gives a shit about these people. Donald Trump, honestly, that's the weird one to me, bro. Because even nowadays, with Joe Biden saying like, oh, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, and they still voted for him.
Look, man, like, bro, I'm never really afraid to like share my views, and my views are, when Trump was in office, man, that's when my family did the best. That's when I did the best. That's when I was able to change my life from being a broke motherfucker to actually doing something with my life.
It's really sad, because some people don't even I'd hate to admit it, but it's like, because he did refer to Africa as like a shithole country, but he's not really even lying, because like really with a whole lot of shit in Liberia, and even Liberia, the corruption, we have a soccer player as the president right now. Just keep that in mind. Okay? And it's not to shit on anybody, but it's just like, because I feel like he means well and he's doing pretty okay. But we need to stop this situation where we're voting people in because they're celebrities. Like, it's getting shitty.
We need to stop voting people in because of how they make us feel. And what they actually do.
And Donald Trump did some things. Even when Kodak was in jail and everything, he actually went out to actually get him out. He was doing things. Like, literally, like things you never even expect people to do. And everything. He really got onto it to actually set something up for it. Even with Kim Jong-un, he was the only one that actually went to North Korea. Like, do you understand what that means? Like, people don't understand that.
That's huge.
You think it just happens and people just be like, well, I didn't like him because he said that one thing. Like, whatever.
What the fuck? Yeah, the feud between North and South Korea has been decades and decades and decades long, man.
And he probably could have set something on the channel to kind of get things situated. Like, to some extent, because Kim Jong-un, like, I know it's like, I don't know him personally, but dude, they had Dennis Rodman.
He opened the floodgates for cryptocurrency, man.
Dennis Rodman went to North Korea.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman, yeah, I remember what he was doing.
Dude, like, seriously, he likes basketball. We got NBA, we had Michael Jordan. We have something in common, just off basketball. Just give him like an Xbox or a PlayStation 4 or NBA 2K, bro. Play him a couple games. You'll realize a lot of these people are more human than you think, bro.
Yeah.
And it's just, I know he's probably might have killed some people, but bro, like, come on. Like, people in power always kill people. There were drone strikes in Somalia, and no one even talks about it, but they want to give Ukraine money.
Nobody's talking about the Azov battalion in Ukraine, dude. They're extreme alt-right Nazis. They're neo-Nazis fighting the Russians, and everybody is in support of them because they're fighting the Russians. But it's like nobody realizes they're extreme violent neo-Nazi racists, bro. Like, they fucking hate like people that aren't their color.
Yeah, and the issue's more like because Russians that are occupying in Ukraine are being discriminated against.
I mean, dude, look, all right, so pandemic came, bro. What was the media doing? Making us buy toilet paper and fucking rubbing alcohol or something like that? Dude, I went to Costco, homie. Costco. And it was completely empty. It was empty, man. Like, it was like in the toilet paper, gone. Water,
Walmart, gone. Everything was
like,
just gone.
Cleaning supplies, gone. And that was all from the news. So it's,
I feel like that was an exercise to see if like we would do what we were told.
So that is really interesting that you say that, because there's a guy that I've been watching. His name is John Stockwell. John Stockwell's a former CIA agent. And in 1979, after he left the CIA, he conducted an interview saying like, all right, this is what I did, yada yada yada. And what happened was, what he told everybody was that his job in the CIA, and what the CIA mainly does, is fucking like pervert information. Like they will send undercovers to perhaps, like the New York Times, and they will go to their best-selling author and they will say, hey, look, I need you to write this about, so and so, and I need you to make it in a way to where it can like rile up some kind of public opinion or some kind of disturbance in the public. And so, dude, they'll go to like newspapers, they'll go to fucking authors, they'll go to college professors. And the thing is like, once they do things like this for the CIA, they're now high-ranking officials in society, dude. They're millionaires. They're all of a sudden, like their businesses all of a sudden take off. Like just weird shit happens. Like it's a trade what they do. And it gets really, really, really crazy with this interview because John Stockwell talks about some of his colleagues, and like this was a later interview. This was like after the Rwandan genocide, so like a good like 10, 15 years later. And he was saying that the CIA has war rooms. So whenever there's a war going on, the CIA has a board of officials that sit in this bunker, and they decide what's going to happen next. Damn. And so with the Rwandan genocide, he was saying he had a colleague sitting in a war room, and they were relaying information to the Hutus and, spreading propaganda to instill hatred against the Tutsis. Damn. And the CIA,
they all fell for it.
Yeah,
that sounds so close to like the whole Liberian Civil War situation. I know I mentioned about like how the racism of like the American slaves that were sent, and how they basically saw themselves as like the one that are more capable to run the country, and that with the indigenous people. Like not a whole lot of people know this, but it's like my second cousin was a guy, if you could look him up, it's Thomas Kwampa. I could probably send you some information about him.
Yeah, do that.
And everything. That's my second cousin and everything. Him and I think, was it Charles Taylor? It wasn't Charles Taylor. Like Samuel Doe, the one that actually became the president, that actually usurped and actually became the president. They actually like overthrew the government together and everything. It's just stuff of that nature. So you're not talking to somebody that doesn't know anything about anything when it comes to that. Like that. Now it's in like my blood too. So it's just like, that leadership stuff, it runs deep like into a lot of our veins and everything. Although it's like, but it's just that thing. It's all just propaganda and everything. You notice that it's always over something like bickering. He could have easily tried to find some way to like, really voice his opinion about the indigenous people that don't really get a whole lot of flack. Even when he got into the position, he was just giving it to people who didn't really deserve to be in that position. It just became childish. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so like we're still trying to clean a lot of this stuff up, and you see it all the time. Like I'm Liberian, I do. Even at my age, I'm 24. There are people who I barely even know in the Liberian community who talk all types of shit, and I don't even know you like that or nothing and everything, because they overhear some stuff that happened at school or something like that, and they want to jump into it, trying to like pick on you as a kid, and then they don't outgrow it because like they're immature. You know what I'm saying? Immaturity is such a big thing that kind of holds us back as a people. Right. The more that we don't see the bigger picture, that's what kind of holds us back. And you hear in a lot of these countries, the moment you realize that really it's just the world is way too big to really fight over things that are just so small and everything, that's when you realize it's just like, okay, maybe I can do right by my people. You got to really just focus on that, put people above you. That's what empathic people do. But then you have the narcissistic type of people that are put in these positions and everything, and then you see them all throughout society. And that's why I feel like we'll just kind of run in the CIA also too, and just stuff of that nature. It's all narcissistic, selfish, type of stuff like that.
I truly think like the people that run the world are fucking reptiles, man.
Yeah, reptilians. Yeah, like they might be like aliens too. You think maybe?
Yeah, dude. That's kind of like what I'm getting at, is that potentially that there are some kind of alien hybrids that are amongst our people in the high-ranking, like 1% billionaires of the world that control everything.
And that they kind of scatter amongst our people, and the
Yeah.
folk that really think empathically are probably like the real human beings, and the ones that are more narcissistic in nature. Like maybe we all got narcissistic tendencies to an extent, but the ones that are just like driven by narcissism are the ones that might be reptilian, because they find a way to like manipulate and swoon major groups of people to go against other people. You know what I'm saying? Like even Jesus. I mean, if like you're a religious person, but even on the narrative, Jesus was literally murdered by the state. When you think about it.
Okay, this is really crazy because, like, what we're talking about, I had an exact conversation with my friend about. And that was that, okay, Jesus was sent to this earth to destroy organized religion because organized religion is what the idols were in like the 10 Commandments that you will not worship. And so, I mean, dude, Jesus, he like he went into like churches and synagogues and like destroyed things and like, turned over like, worship tables and like destroyed benches and like, and he like defiled altars and whatnot. And he hung out with sinners and he performed miracles in broad daylight and like, and, but he was pretty much, it was like a representation that like that is like what faith should be. That walk of faith is that
just treating everybody like you treat yourself.
Yeah,
It's just
like,
pretty simple stuff.
love,
Just be a good person.
love
Think about
people
love.
unconditionally and be the best person you can be, and don't judge people just because of what they've done in life
Or how people might view them generally,
Yeah.
because chances are that's not even who they are. Like for
Exactly.
instance, like they tried to vilify Jesus, a person that really freaking turned water into wine, walked on water, brought the dead back to life, and there was still
But
somebody out
he
there.
also like
Yeah.
more than that, but like he was the representation of love, dude. Like he
Yeah.
was the representation of goodness and grace.
But I'm just saying, you see it all the time. It's just like the people who are the most empathetic in nature are usually the ones that are criticized the most,
Yep.
shitted
Yep.
on the most.
Yep.
And that's what happened with Jesus. They literally, this dude did nothing but perform miracles and help people, and they still murdered him in like the worst way possible.
That's what's kind of how the world works, man, is when you have a more powerful coalition, they find a less powerful coalition and they take control of that one and they use that. Okay, so a good example is Gaddafi.
Yes, I'm glad you brought Gaddafi. He was trying to bring a currency for Africa to all use at once,
trying
and then
to-
Hillary Clinton and all them motherfuckers fucked him up bad.
Yeah, dude. I was about to get into that. He was breaking away from like the world banking system, establishing a currency for his people.
And Africa as a whole. He wasn't just thinking about just Libya.
America funded, fucking rebel coalitions against him, man, and overthrew his country, and they took him out. And reason being is because we're breaking away from the banking system, the world banking system, and like, I mean, I could get into that, but I don't want people thinking I'm racist.
racist like how? Like in such way? What's the racist? Like,
dude, that
hey, dude, you're getting interviewed by an African right now. Like you say yourself, you're even like adopted by a Filipino and a white. Your dad's white, right?
yeah. All right,
and they don't even care. That's what I'm saying. Like
the world banking system, like, okay, so the entire system of the world when it comes to the banks is pretty much ran by the Hasidic Jews, man. It's like a very, very small culture, very small part of Judaism, and it's supposedly like they consider themselves like the original
People.
the original tribe, the original tribes of Judah, and I could be wrong about like that part, but it's conspired a lot. That's more of like on the conspiracy theory side. That
sure, it's no problem. It's just opinion, man. It's just something you heard. Like you're not the first person I've heard this from. Like people say this all the time.
It's pretty crazy, man. Like just how much it ties into. So, but yeah, man. That's I think exactly why Gaddafi got taken out of the position he was in, because 1%, dude, like a very small part of the world that was very powerful.
That could be aliens, reptilians, or whatever. We're not trying to take on any
Yeah,
specific group of
exactly.
people. We
Yeah,
just really don't know who these people
dude,
are.
it could be.
We don't really know. But
Dude.
they're at the top of the game. They're making all the decisions, banking wise, all type of wise. They're the reason why they're still suffering in the world because it's profitable for people. Just keep in mind.
Yep.
The Mental Threats podcast, we're not against anybody or any group of people or nothing like that. We're just stating theories that haven't really been, stated broken down. We're just really just looking at the patterns of how things work and things that happen. Gaddafi being killed is real. People the prison system is real. A lot of these things are real, and we're just trying to figure out as to why these things happen and discussing on the stuff of that nature. So if anybody feels offended, you're free to contact me. I'm just keeping in mind we're not against nobody.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Agreed, man. Good.
Just had to say that out there because it's just just to save up on time because I don't want to hear all that bullshit.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. But yeah, man, these conspiracy theories, they get pretty crazy and they get pretty deep, but I'm pretty much on the wagon that there is a ruling group of people, don't know what they are. They could be aliens. And they're powerful enough to take out fucking kings, man. They're powerful enough to destroy nations and collapse empires. So
just by a word.
So I mean, okay, let's look at Russia and let's look at Ukraine. So Vladimir Putin is waging war in Russia, yes, but it's definitely not just Vladimir Putin. Think about how America works, okay? Run by corporations. Same thing with Russia. Russia, okay, in the Cold War, remember, the two strongest military powers are Russia and the USA. That means that, you have to have tons of corporations, tons of businesses that are bringing in a lot of revenue, that are bringing in a lot of money, that are able to throw money into what the government requires. So here's what I think. And I think this is very, very, very possible, that Putin was put into a position of power from his service background to Russia. He was KGB, and then before that, I think he was MGB. And in that time, he was meeting very powerful people, man. I'm talking people with fuck you money type shit. And I believe that these people who had the fuck you money and Putin, they were able to collaborate and come together over a certain ideal. And they were able to fund him into his position of power. Well, these same people, I think, look at Ukraine as part of the old Soviet bloc. The USSR, because Ukraine was part of Russia at one point. It was annexed by Stalin. And he actually genocided the shit out of the Ukrainians, man. It was called the Holodomor. It was fucking nuts, look into that shit. But, so, you have these old heads with billions of dollars telling Putin, hey, take back Ukraine, man. Let's get back to the glory of the USSR. And if you don't, well, fuck you. We're going to fund a rebel group, or we're going to fund somebody. Kind of like, how Clinton did that to Gaddafi. We funded a rebel group to throw him out. The exact same thing can happen to Putin. And, I think that this
happens so many times. It's wow. Is there any way to counter this stuff? It's for it to happen. Is it just part of life?
It's the laws of nature, man. It's the laws of nature. More powerful things take over less powerful things and control them. You either in this life you either conquer or you serve, and I think Putin serves something more powerful than him. And I think what that thing is trying to take over the world with the New World Order, or the New World Economic Forum, I should say.
No, it's terrifying in a sense, because it's just you realize how insignificant you might be as just one person and everything. But we all fit in the system in some way or another, especially with the education system and everything. You speak to me and you would say that I'm kind of like an intellectual to a certain degree.
Absolutely,
yeah. But at the same token, as a kid and everything, I feel like they know who's who. Like when you're going to elementary school and everything,
Oh,
they
for
know
sure.
who's gonna be the ones that are gonna be the followers, the ones or
The
whatever. And
leaders.
it's always the kids that are probably the least popular, the ones that are always put to the side. The kids that are probably like you know that they're good kids and then they're not bad people, but they're always one put in the ISS, always put under the thumb and everything. I've had to go through the transitions a lot, and there's a whole
Yeah.
lot of things. Even when I replay scenarios or how I grew up, how things happen, I'm like, how did things like this happen? I went to school like in predominantly white schools, bro, through most of my life. And
Right.
all once I stepped into an HBCU, everything just blew up for me. Like I was like getting A's and B's. I never saw myself as an A and B student. I thought I was just gonna fuck around in college and just get my degree and fuck out. But I was really like good, and it's just like wow, like because people used to say all the time that I was smart or whatever. But I thought it was just to say like, oh, you're too smart to be doing this stupid shit or something like that.
Maybe you found something you love too.
It wasn't
Like,
even just that. It was a good environment.
hey
Bro,
man,
it was just like I got nothing but like respect,
maybe.
support, and everything. When high school and middle school, all I used to do was got pulled out saying I was a waste of time, saying I was this and that and this, whatever. It's like one thing that the black kids that were like accepted by like the majority of the white kids or whatever, like, they'll be like thugs or they're really good at like playing basketball. But if you're like a good person that just tried to like stay out, try not to start fights and nothing like that, let it go, try to be like the mature one. Because I used to see a lot of that domestic violence since I was a kid, man. And I always think like, dude, why didn't they just stop and just talk? That's
Yeah.
just that was just my mindset. So I carried that into you kind of become a pacifist in a sense, but not because I want to, not because I'm weak, because I know what happens, when it comes to situations, like
Dude,
a lot of times they're wrong,
it takes a lot of restraint to be able, to keep your shit together when you have every right to lose it. Like that takes guts, man. Like,
It
you
really
know,
does.
I've I've had my moments of losing my fucking shit, and I look back and I just regret it, dude. But you and we're lucky to be able to have free will to be able to change our lives at the flip of a switch, man. Because I went to a military reform school, man, and it sucked. But what was crazy is there's a lot of kids from China there, like barely spoke English, on visas, and dude, it was crazy because what they were telling me, I would talk to them, be like, hey man, like what are you doing when you get out of high school? Like what are you gonna do when you go to college? And they're like, I don't like I already I've already known I'm doing this and this. I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to be working in a factory. I'm going to be working in a textile mill, you know. And I'd get to the question like like what made you choose that job? And they're like choose. I didn't choose that. Like that was given to me by the government. Like that was given to me by the China, like the People's Party. Like and
Wow.
like the thing is like dude, in places like China, you don't have free will like we have here, dude. Like you literally don't have a say over their like your life, and they're happy about it. They're completely content with it because to that,
Because they identify with their culture and they're just trying to like support their culture as best they can.
right.
That's that kind of dedication I wish even Liberia had. Maybe minus all like the whole free wills. Like if everybody just thought about their country firsthand, like we have like football players like Quiddy Pay. He just got drafted the Colts and everything. He does well and everything. We have people that are like rising up. Even I'm trying to focus on doing stuff like this, trying to focus on my music and everything. If it brings me enough money or anything that kind of like helps support my people, maybe start a couple businesses. That's why I go into business administration and marketing, because I want to know like how seeing the flow of like finances and everything. See, I can use it to really uplift my community, but not just for Liberian folk also, but also just West African folk and like people like in the slums, the ghettos and everything. Build a couple libraries, something like that to really help. But it's like,
Yeah.
I have to really, it's good that we have talks like this because I have to really learn how to really like see like really the patterns of like what might be obstacles for me going forward. Because when they see somebody with like this mindset, with giving all that money and stuff of that nature, like that's a threat. As a kid, I've always known to a certain degree that I was a threat. Not in a sense
Right.
of like, oh, I might hurt somebody, but it's just your mindset. It's just, I'm not like a follower. I'm not like a
Right.
sheep type person. You're not gonna just make me like want to follow you out of fear, like I'm gonna be isolated. I've really
Right.
got used to really liking my own company and being more selective of who I let in my circle and everything. So it's just like, there's some shit that happened in my past. Even the CPCC days, that was probably the worst time of my life because of people I used to hang out with and everything. And
Oh
it's just like, it's
yeah.
just all I want to do is just focus on my peace, really bring in, there's sometimes people might laugh, even to this day, people like might snicker to me every once again. People might not want to talk to me because they heard from somebody else I have nothing to do with, like something about me, whatever. But it's like, I always think about people like you, people like my roommates through college and everything, people like my brother, my cousins who grew up my whole life with me. And I think about people who actually know me, and I just think for them. So it's like nobody else could really tell me who I am,
Dude,
but them.
it
And
was
that's just something I had to learn.
it was so funny, man. Because like yeah, the group of we actually hung around the same group of people, man, and I'm not gonna say any kind of names, but damn, they were
You can
trash.
say piece of shit if you want
They were
to.
trash,
I
man.
mean, because it fits. So it's just
It was
like,
just more like, all
what do
right,
you live
so
for?
for example, uh, y'all. I remember y'all came to my house,
Yeah.
hung out and whatnot, met my family, and I remember at one point I was being ridiculed, and I was like being asked. I was getting asked my ethnicity or something like that. Like if I'm, white or what I'm mixed with. Like I'm white with something.
Because you speak a certain way and because you
Yeah,
look a certain way and like,
yeah. You remember that, and like it was just that really just slapped me in the face because it was like I'm hanging out with people that I have something in common with, which is like we were all our skin was different. Like all of our skin was darker, and like I thought that was something that could bring us together, but it was more of the way I conducted myself, the way I carried myself, the way because I was articulate and had manners, and like my family was doing well at the time.
people think like you're like
I'm I
some
was
type of
I
like,
was the white kid of the group, even though I'm like fucking full blooded Hispanic, dude. Like I'm brown as fuck. Like when in the summer, dude, I turn into chocolate. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's
that I can
crazy.
relate to all year long with no other stuff. But it's
Yeah.
just like, but anyway, yeah, no, I could feel that, man. It's just like, like, well, especially with Hispanic. I used to work at Compare Foods on East Side,
Yeah, but that's why
and that was some bit, that was
that's
the
why
shit.
that's a part of that's another reason why I fucked off because I was like, dude, these people I'm hanging around with, like
A
they
lot
have
of the Hispanic folk in up
there
city,
was
Charlotte, uptown Charlotte, what you're saying?
I was saying that like a lot of people that we were hanging around with, I realized like, dude, they got nothing going on.
They really didn't.
Like
And it's just like, I feel like God just kind of puts you in a position to like, really expose yourself to what you don't want to be a part of your life.
yeah,
I'm
man.
blessed that like now I met some people in college who also do music and some of them was hop on my podcast also. And it's just like you look back like in high school how people would be like, "Oh, you can't rap, you can't do this, you can't." I don't know, you haven't heard anything from like my rap books or anything, have
No,
you?
you sent me your tapes.
Yeah, you
Sent
heard
me
my
your,
mixtape and
yeah,
everything.
you sent me a mixtape. I listened to it, bro. I liked it.
Oh, really? You liked it?
Yeah, I
Like, it was
liked
like the
it.
beats that you liked, or like the lyrical content, or is it just like you just liked that the whole aesthetic of it all together?
I like the atmosphere that it gave. I like the beats. I definitely like the way that like you put your flows together, man. You put your bars together.
Yeah, man. So I would have dropped more stuff in the year between
That's like
because it's just like
that's like the kick back and relax with some dark liquor type shit, man. Like you breaking out the whiskey and chilling. You kick on that album type shit.
yeah, it's cool. I still got beats in her days. I still got concept. I got it. It's just like I need to, once I find like a resource to actually fuel this and everything. It's gonna be me in the studio every weekend because I actually found somebody that actually works with me and everything. So I don't feel like it wouldn't be impossible and everything.
Right.
It's just now that I'm kind of experienced and like how the process would go. It's just like whether if I got to start with a verse or just start with just feeling the beat. I've already set up a process. It's really just a matter of me just really just setting up a deadline. I didn't even notice there was a cat here. I thought that was like a teddy bear or something for the longest minute. This has been listening to our whole conversation. Like,
Chilling, dude.
it's like, bro. So you're like mostly like a cat person over a dog person, or is it just like?
Dude, I just love animals.
Just like
I don't
animals?
know, bro. Like, all right, so
I got a dog at home.
I
His name's
moved
Cool.
in. My girl and I moved in together, and then, about like a good 6 or 7 months after living together, she wanted a cat, and then we got a cat, and I ended up liking this cat a lot, and then and then we got another cat because our friend, our friend's girlfriend, pretty much tried to convince us to watch this cat for like a week while they were away on vacation. And they're gonna leave it in the house, turn the AC off, and leave it like with a bowl of water and some food. And we were just like, no, like we'll take care of the cat. And it was a kitten, dude, like a little like tiny little newborn kitten. And dude, like this kitten had fleas. It like had shit matted in his fur. Like it
Damn.
had tapeworms falling out of his ass. It was disgusting, bro. Like it was really fucked up. And we were just like, dude, there's no way. Like like this cat gave fleas to our other cat, to the one that we just got, the one that we just adopted, and this our other cat got worms. So like now we're having to take both cats to the vet, spend money on them, blah 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 blah. Like $600-700 later, we're like, all right, everything's straight.
Might as
Well,
just keep the cat since you already put
yeah.
so much money in it.
Well, homegirl wants to take this cat back. We're like, fuck no. You can pay the bills before you take this cat back, because we spent almost a rack trying to make this cat better.
And that was their cat first.
Yeah, but like eventually, it belonged to my boy's girlfriend's daughter, and she was just, dude. She was like she was like 15 at the time, so it's like
Not giving a shit about the cat.
she couldn't afford to take care of it, and it was just like
Nah,
we were like, yo, you just give us a cat, bro.
Yeah, man. Like how I found my dog, I don't know. You know where Garringer High School is in Charlotte? You know where Garringer High School is, right? No. Well, it's part of my side of town, east side Charlotte and everything. Like my dog kept jumping into the road and everything after I was driving. I don't know if I was driving from school. No. I wasn't driving from school. I was just in town for like Christmas and stuff like that. And it was just like, while I was driving, there was like somebody holding up traffic. I'm like, who the hell's holding up traffic right now? And it's like, there was this dog that just kept jumping into the street and everything. And I'm just like, okay. But every time they would take him like off the street into the sidewalk, he would like run again and everything. It looked like he'd been kind of homeless for a while. And so like, okay, fine, just stick with us and everything. We'll find your owner some whatever time and everything. We didn't even bother. We just like, just stick with us and everything. So I just named him Clueless and everything because he just didn't have a clue. He just kept jumping into the street. And everything. Just holding up traffic. So it's like, yeah, he's a really cute dog. I always get compliments like, oh yeah, well, you got a cool looking pit. You're like, oh yeah, that's a nice pit dog. It's like he's really friendly and everything. He's not even like an aggressive type dog. He's like empathetic. He's just like nice.
Dude, I love pit bulls, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He's like he's mostly terrier than pit bull, but it's like it's just he's just still a pit bull. He's still a mutt, which I'm glad because the mutts have like the longest lifespan because they're the main dogs that aren't like a bunch of cousins sleeping with it just to keep like one dog that look the same way and everything.
Yeah,
so.
that's when it gets pretty bad, dude.
Yeah,
like,
and then the health problems, and then like Rottweilers' backs be like messed up and everything.
Dude, my girlfriend, she was telling me about one of her friends, and they had these two dogs, man, like one girl and one boy. Well, they were both from the same litter, and none of them were like fixed at all. And dude, like they did nothing about it, and like these dogs would just keep inbreeding and inbreeding and inbreeding, and it just got horrible, bro. So fucking bad.
Like how bad? Like the dogs.
Dude, you had like okay, they were like they're pretty like good, like medium sized dogs. I can't remember like what breed, but it was fucked up. Like you had like dogs with like deformed legs, or like their legs just didn't work, and they like dragged their legs behind them, or like their backs, like their spines would be like underdeveloped, so like they'd have like a big head, and then like their body would be like scrunched up. It was fucked up, dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it actually is probably in the best interest to just breed dogs with like mixing with all sorts of dogs. As
Yeah,
opposed
like
to just,
dude, the whole like pure breeding, like with pits thing, like that shit gets
it's wild. Like
if
after
you're
like
not-
maybe 2 generations, maybe it's time to kind of like mix in.
if not done right, dude, it gets bad. That's all I can say. Like the people that they're like, I've noticed there's definitely like a technique to breeding dogs. Like, there's definitely like the guys that do it big, like the guys and gals that do it big. There's a lot of research and like a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money that goes into studying out dogs and whatnot. So Yeah, man. That's the same thing with Wagyu. You ever eaten like A5 Wagyu or like Kobe?
What's Wagyu? What's that?
It's like meat candy, bro. It's
Oh, meat candy.
insane. Yeah, it's like it's a steak, but the way the cow is bred, and the way the cow is taken care of, the diet the cow is given,
Like greens, like
it's
a
like
whole lot, no
yeah,
corn at
no
all.
corn, like
Which is wild because they're not even supposed to eat that. Like
nah,
evolutionary
fuck no.
wise.
Straight they so with the Wagyu and like the Kobe cows, they feed them olives. It's olive fed, and they massage these cows, and like, dude, like hundreds of thousands of dollars go into breeding these cows and making sure that like the genetic line is just pure. Like it's pretty wild, man.
It's cool, man. Breeding, that's like one of the main things humans innovated. That's how I know it's like that's why I got so deep when I was young into the whole ancient alien theory and everything. But then I realized like, man, a lot of the people weren't even like, like credible.
You look at
But
the Bible, man. Like, okay, you can't approach the Bible literally. You cannot approach it literally. A lot of it is
like
analogy. A lot of it is
kind of based off, kind of derivative of stuff like Gilgamesh, and then based off like stuff
bro, like
like
talk about
Egyptian like mythology.
the Bible talks about like fiery angels and chariots of fire like falling from the heavens. Dude, what the fuck could that possibly be other than a meteor? Like a fucking UFO, dude.
Yeah.
Like, or it's got to be something like that. Like, dude, I think a lot of the things in the Bible that that are spoken about like our actual extraterrestrial experiences that humans have.
Trying to like make sense out of it
Yeah,
all.
they can't fucking explain it. They're just trying to like this is the best way I can describe what I just saw of this fucking alien. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty funny, but it's just like it's just crazy because a lot of like these interactions or whatever from the past really based on a whole lot of things really impact a lot of things that go on today. And like you claim a lot of this, they claim that a lot of this like happened thousands of years ago and everything. And so it's like it's really just that constant of trying to conserve like beliefs from the past, but also trying to work with things like in today's age too.
have you heard of the like the Dead Sea Scrolls?
I think I've heard something about it, but I don't really know what it's all about. If you like to explain,
All right, so it's
people only got about 10 minutes, so it's just like you want to like close out.
I
And
got
everything.
you,
You don't
man.
want to stay too long. I know like these episodes again. I just gotta be able to like we do like 30 minutes, to, like an hour. I don't want to like overdo it. So now we
got
got
you.
5. No, do we have no? Now we got 4 minutes. Oh shit.
I got you, bro. Yeah, Dead Sea Scrolls, pretty much, they're ancient text, like thousands of years old, man, and it was translated, and a lot of it matched up with what the Bible has today, and like some of the Old Testament and whatnot. And throughout time and throughout the world, there are like hundreds of ancient texts that have been discovered and like, retranslated, and a lot of them point towards the same thing. So, you know, I think like organized religion and like and a lot of like manuscripts today, man, I think they are not what they were ever at one point. Like I think they are a far cry from what they used to be because humans, like powerful groups of people, the King of England, for example, when he when he had all of his people translate the Bible, King John, dude, I guarantee you he changed parts in the Bible so people
Just to fit his narrative, like how like Jesus like looks like freaking like blue eyes, but just from Middle East. and
exactly,
everything.
dude, exactly.
Like how like he looks exactly like Caesar Bonanni, like from like it's just like the son of like a corrupted pope and everything. How we just accept it as like the actual template for Jesus, and we don't even bother to change it up or try to like.
There are books missing from the Bible.
Yeah, man.
Like it's fucking wild. Dude.
That's what's weird. It's like we don't really break down what the true nature of God is. Whether if he's like a vengeful God, is he a strict God? If he's just a loving, understanding God, it's like, hey man, just be a good person and we're chill. Is he just a big old hippie, or anything, which is more believable when you think about it. Like, I don't feel like God is like the type to be just vengeful and like to hurt people or anything. He understands how fucked up this world is, and really just wants us to just navigate like with love and just think about others and how it touches others and everything. You know, not be narcissistic, not be selfish, just think selflessly, and think about others. Like, you know, like that's you, that's your brother. Like, that seems like a pretty easy way to live, regardless of how they live or whatever. As long as it's not harming nobody, then, you know, it's all good and everything. That's how I feel like God would be, you know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. We can never really be sure.
Yeah, so it's better off. Wouldn't it be better to be on the empathetic side than on the narcissistic, fucking other people's upside and everything?
Perhaps he's energy.
Yeah.
He's the energy of this world.
Probably the energy of this world.
He's the good and bad. He is, karma. He's the ether. You never know, dude.
Could be. Or, you know, he could be just like a collection of all of our memories and collection of consciousness all together into a sky, kind of like a cloud.
Well, yeah, man. Like, we are creations of something bigger than us. You know, so...
And you never know, like, it could be just like, you know, like how an ant is compared to us. Like, we're definitely more complex than an ant per se, but it's still conscious. Like, what if like maybe something like even bigger than God? Like, maybe it's like a freaking God society or whatever. Like, and each God is like representative of each like dimension and everything.
My homie thinks God's an alien. He thinks that God is an alien and that Satan is an alien. But he's not just an alien. That like Lucifer means like the light bearer.
Yeah, I know. It means morning star, don't it?
That I haven't heard of, but you know what? Probably I'll have to look into that. But pretty much, my buddy thinks that Lucifer is actually like an entire like race of aliens cast down to this world. And like he thinks that they're like, reptilians that have integrated themselves into society, like we talked about earlier, man.
Yeah.
Shit's crazy, man. We can never know.
We never really know, man. And it's just a constant war and between them, if it's a war or like some type of like agreement or something. I don't even know. Maybe they're trying to prove something. Because, like, God in the Bible has been said to have been trying to do bets and stuff, like, over, like, that one guy that always followed him was always, like, a follower of him. And then, like, he started, like, letting a whole lot of disaster shit happen to him because he had to deal with, like, the devil, which actually kind of seems like some asshole shit when you think about it. Because, like, why would you make a bet with your enemy in regards to, like, someone that's, like, loves you and everything? That's what I'm saying. They keep, like, writing God as, like, kind of a bit of a dick. And I don't even know if that's his true nature. I feel like that's just, like, all propaganda written by the same reptilians for us to have hatred or like to just fall away from like what the true nature of God is, which is just to be empathetic, just be loving and everything, just to give us a nature like, oh no, I'm a better Christian than you, or I'm more holy, or your way is wrong, and so thus you should be shitted on. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of contradictory to the whole love everyone. So the contradictions make people not want to believe. On like any sides of a good or righteousness or anything. And really just wants us all to just fall into the nature of selfishness and say that wants us to believe like that's our true nature, but that's not necessarily it. It's like that's why I feel like everything is like so out of balance. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like with the law system and everything, just war, everything. I don't feel like that's how life is supposed to be. I feel like we're just put here to like live, be happy, grow old, and then pass on, and then go on and go on. Just live in the lives, touch lives, and then just go on.
For sure, man.
And just keep that basis. But yeah, we pretty much been speaking for like an hour. This is a damn good episode. This better fucking save too. I'll be so fucking pissed. Anyway, so yeah, that's it for another episode of the Mental Threats podcast. I'll be sure to upload it as soon as I can. I'd like to thank my friend Stephen Naas. We go back to CPCC days. Like he's one of the main good people I know from CPCC. Ain't a whole lot of people I can name that I know from CPCC I even keep up with, let alone that I even fuck with at all. It kind of just things like that really just kind of helps to like kind of cherish like the people that kind of come into your lives, because even though there might be others that might throw you under the bus, that might turn their backs on you, there's the couple that are like rooting for you and just want to support you.
Hell yeah, man. So, yeah. I appreciate you coming up, man, and having me sit down on your podcast, dude. It was really cool just catching up with you and just shooting the shit, dude. I hope to see you soon, man. You be safe, dude.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I might drop in. I'll be in Charlotte a little bit longer than I thought, so it's just like you might as well just like hit you up like every now and then. Who knows? I might drop in.
Hell yeah,
But
dude.
sure, you see me on social media. Since social media, people just don't hang out anymore. I
Yeah.
can't keep up with them on social media all the time. But thanks for that. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it. If you got any last words, you're free to do so.
I'm all good, man. You're welcome anytime, though.
All right, thank you very much,
Facts,
Stephen
bro.
Naas. That's it for the Mental Threads podcast. We've been sewing in, we're sewing out.